What is up, guys? So this weekend for football, it's only Saturday morning. I don't even know, to be honest, if my bets are going to win or lose, but I've already placed over 200 bets for NFL and college football games this weekend. About 100 for Saturday, 100 for Sunday, the NFL. But the point of this video is to kind of explain how you should be thinking, how you should be betting as a profitable, sharp sports bettor. So if you're new to this channel, my name's Alex. I've been betting on sports very seriously for maybe 6 or 7 years now. And lifetime betting on football, all my plays are tracked on a verified public bet tracker called Pickett Sports. So you can follow me on Pickett to see all my plays. I've made over $200,000 betting on football. But the point of this video is to just kind of give you a glimpse into the different betting strategies, the bets that I place on a weekly basis, how I'm getting these results. So without further ado, let's get into it. So some people will say, why do you have so many bets, right? Why don't you just place 1 or 2 bets, maybe 5 bets, the bets you're most confident in? And the truth is, that's not really how sports betting works, right? So I'll give you a really simple example. Is a bunch of these books like Prize Picks, DraftKings Pick 6, FanDuel, all of these sports books run promos, profit boosts, discounts, free squares. For example, on Prize Picks, they literally have Mahomes discounted to half of a passing yard. That is a free win. Obviously, you want to take advantage of all these different promos on different books. So the first thing, right, why do I have a lot of bets open, is promos. I want to take advantage of the low-hanging fruit. Promos are the easiest money you're gonna make in sports betting, so you want to take advantage of them. The second thing is, we never know which book is gonna have value. If you look at my profit, right, lifetime sports betting, it would not be possible if I was only using one book, right? All of these books set their own unique odds, their own unique lines. We never know which book is gonna have the best value on a given day. So the more books you have, the more outs you have, the better, right? And there's other reasons for placing a variety of bets. I mean, imagine being the best poker player in the world, right? If you're the best poker player in the world, you know you have an edge over everybody else. You're not just gonna sit at the table and play one hand. You may get dealt 2-7 and lose your money, right? Like, you're gonna have some variance, you're gonna lose some hands, but over the course of the long run, you're gonna make money, so you wanna play as many hands as possible. You want a large sample size of bets, and it's the same thing in sports betting. The more bets you place, most of these books have max betting limits. If all your bets have an edge, the higher probability you're gonna end up in the green. So the first strategy that I used was arbitrage betting. In arbitrage, it's a really simple strategy. It's how I started sports betting. And what I love about it, and a lot of people love about it, is you make guaranteed profits. You're basically trading the sports books. So arbitrage, it's a simple strategy. When 2 sports books have extremely different odds, you can hedge for a guaranteed profit. So I'll give you a simple example of a play I locked in for college football. Drake versus South Dakota. Novig had the over 47.5 points at plus 110. Rebet, which is another book that's legal in almost every state, just like Novig, they had the over at minus 118, right? So that's a big difference. All these books want to be unique. They set their own prices, and sometimes they get out of sync, and that's when you can capitalize. So basically what you can do is bet the over on Novig, hedge, bet the under on Rebet to guarantee a profit, right? You're day trading the books to ensure a profit. So what I did is I bet the under on Rebet for $661. You may say, why didn't you bet more? Why didn't you bet $2,000? That's the max that they limited me to. Unlike Novig, Rebet is a sports book that has max betting limits, and that's what they gave me. They gave me $661. So I plugged that number into the arbitrage calculator on OddsJam, and it tells me to bet $614.54 on Novig. right? And regardless of what happens, the game can go over, under 100 points or 20 points. It doesn't matter. Whatever happens, I'm going to be making a risk-free profit of $14.99. You just follow the arbitrage calculator. And we can go through the math very briefly. Like, let's say the game goes under, there's 47 or less points. I'm going to win my bet on rebet. So on rebet, I'm going to win 629.52. I bet 661 at minus 105 odds. So that means I'm going to win 629.52 in profit. On Novig, I'm going to lose 614.54, which is what the calculator told me to bet. That's a net profit of $14.98. On the other hand, game goes over. I lose 661 on rebet, and on Novig, I win 675.99, so that's $14.99 profit, right? This is guaranteed profit. There is no way you can lose if you're arbitrage betting correctly, which is why you'll see Odds Jam customers with an all green calendar, right? They're winning every single day, and that's because they're arbitrage betting. So without further ado, let's kind of get into some of the other bets I placed. So next, I bet on South Carolina money line at plus 330. This was arbitrage to circa. So basically, whenever you have equal and opposite outcomes and the plus number is bigger than the minus number, plus 330, minus 320, you have an arbitrage opportunity. But basically, another very important strategy, this is actually the main sports betting strategy I use nowadays. I highly encourage everybody to use this strategy. It's called cross-market EV betting. Is basically whenever two sports books, right, are so out of sync that it's an arbitrage opportunity, you could bet over, under, or equal and opposite outcomes. South Carolina on one book, Missouri on another book, and guarantee a profit. You know one of these two plays has to be profitable, right? One of these two bets, either Missouri minus 320 on circa or South Carolina plus 330 on rebet, one of these two bets has to be mathematically profitable or plus EV, because again, you could bet both of them in the proper proportion with a hedge calculator and guarantee a risk-free return. So one of the two plays has to be profitable. So long story short, the reason I love cross-market EV betting is you have a really high confidence in your edge. With every arbitrage opportunity, you know that at least one of the two plays has to be plus EV. And in this case, it was really clear the value was on the rebet side, right? So first of all, Circa is a really sharp book. It's known to be a really smart book with very accurate lines. The lines are very indicative of the true probability of a team winning. So rebet is a very stupid sports book. It's a book I'm up a lot of money on. So if a soft book, a stupid book like rebet is crossed, or arbitrage with a sharp book like Circa or Pinnacle, then the value is almost certainly on the soft book side. And if you kind of do a quick scan of the market, and you'll see like, okay, the average price is plus 287. You're getting plus 330 on rebet. That seems like pretty good value. You can also DVIG, right? Other sharp books. So Bet Online is known to be a very sharp book as well. So Bet Online's market was plus 280 South Carolina, minus 350 Missouri. They have a 70-cent spread. All of these books are market makers. They make money by charging a spread, right? So what you can do is you can DVIG the market. Essentially, you can remove the VIG, remove the juice from a sportsbook's market to figure out what is the true price? What is the fair price with the VIG removed? And according to Bet Online, the true line would be plus 295 South Carolina, minus 295 Missouri. That's the true price. So basically, Bet Online's model is saying, you know, this game should be South Carolina plus 295, Missouri minus 295, but then obviously these books want to make money, so they add the juice, they add the spread into their market. That's how books make money. They're market makers. So, you know, we're getting plus 330 on rebet. That's above fair value according to Bet Online, another sharp book that's saying plus 295. So it's pretty clear the value's on the South Carolina bet. This play is plus EV. So I ran it. you can see, rebet, I don't know why. They only let me bet $50, so that's what I played. And that's another reason why you want to, place so many bets on a weekly basis if you want to maximize your profits. But anyways, this is a crossed market plus EV bet that I locked in for this weekend. And again, I don't know, it's Saturday morning, I'm recording this video before the game start. I have no idea which of these bets are gonna win, which of these bets are gonna lose, but regardless, I'm just kind of giving you a sense of the plays I locked in, how I find my bets. So what I would like to mention about EV betting is obviously it's different than arbitrage, right? Arbitrage, you're gonna win every single day, which is how you'll see odds jam customers like the people here getting all green calendars. That is not possible when you are EV betting. It's kind of like investing in stocks versus bonds, right? If you invest in a US Treasury, you're gonna make a risk-free return of like 4% or whatever. You literally have no risk unless whatever, the government defaults. Whereas when you're investing in the stock market, your expected return is higher, but there's ups and downs, right? The stock market historically has returned approximately 10%, 11%. Granted, there are years, right, and there are months like the start of COVID where the stock market crashes. So it is not risk-free. So that's kind of like EV betting. It's higher risk, higher return. It's the main strategy I use. And you'll see in my best month ever sports betting, which was last September, I made over 70 grand. I still had days down over 7K. So when you're EV betting, you're gonna have variance, which is why I recommend, if you're a new sports bettor, start out with a risk-free strategy like arbitrage. Build up your bankroll. You'll also increase your confidence that, hey, I can actually beat these sports books if you're making money every single day. And from there, you can start to layer on higher risk, higher return betting strategies like positive EV betting. But anyways, let's get into some other plays I got locked in. So I played Cobb, college football player prop, max bet size of $100. So again, if you're only placing 2 bets a week and you have a max bet size of $100, even if your ROI is 20% ROI on $200 means you're making $40 in profit. That's why you need volume when you're gambling. But I ran Jeremiah Cobb over 37.5 rushing yards. This was a line discrepancy from the odds jam optimizer. It just points out line discrepancies. So you can see on Fliff, they have the line at 37.5. Every other book like FanDuel, they have the line at like 50.5. right? And you have numerous data points. I mean, some books aren't that aggressive. Prize Picks, it looks like, has the line at 46.5. But regardless, even if you only use Fliff, these other sports books are data points, right? Basically, we're essentially buying a stock at $37.50. That's kind of the analogy. When it's trading in the market around $45, $50, we are getting value relative to the rest of the market, and every other sports book is a data point on where the line should be set. So this was a very clear line discrepancy from OddsJam. So next, I played a bunch of DFS slips. So there's 6 main DFS sites that I use: DraftKings, Pick6, Prize Picks, Underdog Fantasy, Dabble, Owner's Box, and Bettor, right? So these books, they work a little different from traditional sports books. So they basically have fixed payouts. So for example, on Bettor, any 5-pick entry, you're getting a 20x payout. So you're betting 50 to win 1,000, right? Any 5-man, you're getting a 20x payout. So it doesn't matter in this example, I took Kareem Hunt's under 1.5 receptions. It does not matter. If you take Kareem Hunt to go over or under in your slip, you are getting the same payout, 20x. So why did I take the under? Well, look at every sports book. This was just a play from the OddsJam Positive EV tool, comparing the lines on fixed payout DFS apps like Prize Picks directly to sports books is the best way to get an edge and make money. So if you look at every data point, every book, all of these sports books had Hunt's under heavily favored. So even if you don't use these other books, once again, they are data points. So I ran a bunch of different slips on Prize Picks, Dabble. I use all these different DFS apps. Again, you never know which of these books is gonna have the best promos or the best value on a given day. So even though it may be a little unintuitive, having more books is actually better. So next we have middle betting. I love middle betting, man. It's kind of similar to arbitrage. I call middles the risk-free lottery tickets of sports betting. So I'll just take you through an example. I think that's the best way to learn, about middle betting. So I ran Western Carolina -9 at +101 on rebet. And then I played Samford, their opponent, +9.5, a slightly different line at +100. So let's just kind of go through the math. So my ideal situation is Western Carolina wins by 9 points, because on rebet, I'm gonna push, and on no vig, I will win, right? I will cover, Samford will cover +9.5. So that's the ideal situation. If they win by exactly 9 points, rebet pushes, no vig cashes, I'm up 470 profit. Let's say they win by 10 points or more. If that happens, on rebet I win, on no vig I lose, so I'm up 470 profit, right? I bet at +101 odds on rebet. And on the other hand, if Samford essentially loses by 8 or less or wins the game, so basically if the rebet side loses, I lose 470 on rebet, I win 470 on no vig, my net profit is 0. So this is basically no downside, all upside. I click a few buttons and I may make $0, $5 profit, or 470, which is obviously the ideal outcome. So I love looking for middle bets. Obviously, when you hit them, it's an amazing feeling. But regardless, I went through a ton of plays I locked in for this weekend, NFL, college football bets. There's so many other bets I played. Basically, all my picks are given out 100% for free on social media, Twitter. I live stream on Twitch, so you can check me out there. But regardless, I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions, comment them below. And, thank you so much for your time. And hopefully you learned something useful that helps you make money sports betting.